Managing software engineers is harder than it seems. A common strategy for recruiting new managers is to take somebody who's perfectly good at developing code and turn them into a software engineering manager. Unfortunately, the very skills that make them good at their job as a software engineer can wind up working against them as a software engineering manager. Instead, the new manager needs to develop a new set of skills to help create a productive, happy team that can get work done. Hi, I'm John Miller, the Deliberate Engineer. I spent 30 years working as a software engineer and software engineering manager at Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and many other companies. More specifically, I was a principal engineer for 15 years and a software engineering manager for 13. In this video, I'm going to give you my top 3 tips for being a good software engineering manager. If you're already doing these things, fantastic. If you're not, these might be ways that you can help build rapport with your developers and produce a more productive, happier engineering team. I'm not going to explain everything that goes into being a manager and what makes a good software engineering manager. Those are things that I've covered in other videos. Instead, what I'm going to do is give you some of the fruits of the lessons that I learned the hard way in my many years of managing. Tip number 1, accept good enough. Not everything has to be great. A common mistake that people make, especially people who are strong engineers when they first start managing a team, is to take a look at every design and implementation decision being made and wanting it to be the very best it can be. On the surface, this sounds like a great idea, but it's actually one of the worst things you can do to your team. Suppose one of your developers, Alice, has a design that she puts forth and is getting ready to do implementation. The design meets the requirements, it's perfectly good, but you know a better way to do things. Should you override her design? The answer overwhelmingly is no, you shouldn't. As long as Alice's design will meet the requirements that have been established for the software, then it's good enough. You can sound out Alice and see if she's receptive to ideas about how this design might be improved or how one like it in the future might be improved, but you absolutely shouldn't make her go back and rework a design that's perfectly serviceable. Why shouldn't you make Alice make the component as good as you possibly can? Because Alice is the one who's going to have to own it. She's going to have to own the design, she'll do the implementation, she'll own maintaining the code. It's unfair to take her and the design that she came up with and make her do something completely different just to get some unnecessary performance or robustness or whatever improvements out of it. The trade-off isn't worth it. By overriding your developer's design unnecessarily, you're telling them that they're not good enough. You're changing what should be one of the funnest, most enjoyable parts of the job into something that's a slog. Instead of moving forward with something they created, they're having to make the changes that you requested and move forward with your design. It's just not worth it. The first time I formally managed a team was in Windows NT 3.1. We were adding multimedia support for sound cards, CD drives, that sort of thing into the product, and I was tasked with leading a small team of software test developers who were going to be putting together the testing infrastructure for it. At the time, I considered myself the strongest of the set of developers who were doing this, and so every time one of my developers proposed a design or a framework, anything like this, I always took a look and tried to figure out, how can I make this better? And then I would have them adopt whatever changes that I demanded. Some years later, we were still in touch and we got together for beers and talked about some of the old days, and I found out just how much the way that I'd managed the team bothered them. Looking back, it really didn't make that big a difference for what we were making, and yet I took them from something that should have been a lot of fun, exploring new territory back then, and turned it into something that was markedly unpleasant. Fortunately, they didn't hold it against me in the long term, but this really underscored to me just how important it is to let people own their designs as long as it meets the requirements they're trying to meet. So again, if the design and the implementation are good enough that are being proposed by one of your reports, let them move forward with that. You can give them information about how it could be improved, but ultimately they need to own it and they need to get to see how the component survives through its whole life cycle. They'll learn a lot more from doing this than they would for you just overriding their ideas and telling them what to do. Tip number 2. Manage fairly, not equally. When I first started out as a manager, and for several years, I thought that it was my job to be as fair and as equal to everybody as I could. Everybody should get the same slice of my time. Everybody should have the same opportunities, but of course what they did with those opportunities was up to them. This was exactly the wrong thing for me to be doing. Your goal as a manager is to give people the amount of attention and guidance that they work best with. Some people will need inch stones rather than milestones. They'll need to be given goals and guidance that gets updated every day or every couple of days, and they'll really benefit from having weekly one-on-ones. Other employees will want to have a little bit of time at the beginning of a big task and then disappear into the unknown reaches to do that work, finish it up until they're ready to get another one and come back. That may be a matter of weeks. It could even be a month or two. I wouldn't necessarily go that long without at least saying hello to the developer, but some people will do their best work and advance the best by having that freedom from oversight. I try to treat these different people fairly by giving them the amount of attention that they need and will benefit from without putting a bunch of undue process on top of them. My third tip is probably counterintuitive, and I expect there to be a little disagreement about it. The third tip is to let things fail. Sometimes the best way you can learn a lesson is by owning something through pushing for your ideas and then implementing it only to find out either you can't finish it or it doesn't work the way that you wanted. Our job as managers is to help our people grow. Sometimes the way they grow best is by making these wrong decisions and getting a chance to follow them through until things truly and utterly fail. As the manager, you're still responsible for the output of your group. You need to make sure that that failure can be contained and that it can be compensated for. So you can't let everything fail, but you should take a look, and when there's strong feelings and strong disagreement with your own guidance on things, you should give that information, unobtrusively even, to the report and let them move forward the way that they want to. The time where I found this most useful was when I was actually managing other managers, and I had to let them make decisions about commitments they were making for their team or how to handle an employee who was having a bit of a rough time. I wouldn't let them do anything that would, for example, put that employee's future at serious risk or that would jeopardize the shipping of the product we were working on, but I would give them enough room to fail, and then if necessary, I would talk to my boss or talk to other people that would be affected by that failure and let them know, well, I think we might need a little more time for this. I wouldn't override the communications that that manager had done, but I would make sure that the people at least had a heads up that they should be prepared for there to be some potential changes in what the plan was. In summary, there's a lot of things that go into being a good manager. I bumped into lots of things over the years, and these 3 hints that I've given are the 3 that were the most useful and yet the most counterintuitive for me. The first is that good enough is good enough for an implementation. Let the people on your team own the things that they're making, and as long as it's not something that's going to be a significant problem in the future, let them go ahead and do it the way they want to. The pluses outweigh the minuses. Second is manage people according to their needs. Don't worry about giving equal time and equal opportunities to every single person on the team. You want to be fair, and that means giving them what they need to be able to progress, meeting them where they're at, rather than setting a bar that isn't appropriate for all of the employees. And finally, try and create an environment where people can make important decisions and have them fail sometimes, ideally without completely derailing your team's work. This will let them learn more than they would if you just told them the right thing to do to begin with and made them do it, and it will also make them more receptive to guidance in the future. Those are my tips. Do you have any management tips that you'd like to give for other people who are getting ready to be a manager or maybe already experienced managers? Do you disagree with some of these tips? I'd love to hear what you think. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Thanks for making it through the video, and keep on pushing forward. Hi, this is John. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please think about subscribing so you get notified of my future videos. Also, if you are interested, you might want to check out the video I have linked here. Thanks, and keep on pushing forward.